Change typically results as a reaction to specific problems or opportunities the organization is facing based on internal or external stimuli. While the notion of becoming more competitive or closer to the customer or more efficient can be the motivation to change, at some point these goals must be transformed into the specific impacts on processes, systems, organization structures, or job roles. This is the process of defining the change. A change agent is someone who acts as a catalyst for change within an organization. When human resource managers serve as internal change agents, they have the advantage of being familiar with the organization and its members, and they can develop the long-term relationships and feelings of trust that are needed for successful change. Most organizational change efforts fail to produce lasting change. Some of the most important reasons why change efforts do not produce meaningful change are that the change was not tied to the organization's strategy, the change was seen as a fad or quick fix, or there was a lack of measurable goals and timelines. Organizations are required to change because of a broad variety of different forces. These forces can be analyzed in terms of both internal forces, such as new technology, versus individual resistance, such as a distrust of management, and environmental forces, for example, competition, and organizational resistance, like vested interests. Three kinds of change have been categorized according to their degree of complexity and their potential for resistance to change, as shown on this slide. These are developmental change, transitional change, and transformational change. There are 7 major targets of change: the individual personality, a dyad, a group, a work team, the entire organization or its divisions, organizational structure, and organizational strategy. It is important to identify the right target for change because if you select the wrong target, your change effort will not be effective. Suppose, for example, that the major cause of a problem is the failure of a work team to respond to the authority of a new supervisor. If this problem is perceived strictly as an interpersonal problem rather than a problem of a work team, the recommended solution will be to help the supervisor develop greater interpersonal skills or a more autocratic leadership style. Human relations training, assertiveness training, and other interventions that focus on the personality of the leader will probably do more to create feelings of guilt and inadequacy than to solve the problem. On the other hand, a group intervention that focuses on the work team will probably be much more effective in clarifying the authority relationship between the new supervisor and the group members. Organizational change strategies need to identify the proper target of change for the change to be effective. If an OD intervention focuses on the wrong target, the intervention could not only fail to solve the problem, but it could add to the frustration and dissatisfaction. Kurt Lewin's theory of change was derived from the laws of physics, which state that the position of an object and its direction are determined by the forces operating on it. Change occurs when the forces pushing in one direction are greater than the forces pushing in the opposite direction. A state of balance exists when the restraining forces acting to prevent change are equal to the driving forces attempting to produce change. The equilibrium point is determined by the resultant forces operating in different directions, as shown on the slide.